We're going to take you now live to Queensland, Caboolture, where the new Labor leader Anthony Albanese is speaking. Let's have a look.
Privilege to serve as the member for Longman for the past 3 years. This is my home. I've raised my family, I've lived and worked in the area for over 30 years. And while I'm incredibly disappointed in the outcome last week, I'm actually quite devastated for what it means for our community. Schools without millions of dollars worth of extra funding, healthcare services on Bribie Island that will no longer be provided through an urgent care clinic, childcare, cheaper childcare for people, $1.5 billion for the Bruce Highway, dental for pensioners. I'm devastated that those won't be delivered now for people in my community. So while I accept the outcome on the weekend, and I wish Terry Young the very best and congratulate him on his election, what we will do now is make sure that we rebuild, we review and we reflect, and I can't think of a greater person to lead us in that rebuild, in that reflection, than Anthony Albanese. And I'm really glad to have Anthony here with me in Longman today.
Thanks very much. Well, thanks, Susan. I want to begin by paying tribute to the work that Susan Lamb has done as the member for Longman. She, of course, has been through 3 hard elections in under 3 years. And so it's reasonable that Susan take a bit of time in terms of personal time to regroup. But on behalf of the Australian Labor Party, I thank Susan and all of our candidates in the federal election. And I say I'm sorry on behalf of the leadership of the Labor Party that we let you down by not getting the outcome that we wanted in this election. We received the votes of 1 in every 3 Australians, but we received 1 in 4 votes here in Queensland. That simply isn't good enough because we need Labor governments. As Susan said, we had a range of commitments to schools, to hospitals, to infrastructure here in Queensland and specifically here in the electorate of Longman. But of course here today where we're holding this media conference at the Caboolture Town Square, this is an example whereby the infrastructure investment, $3 million, the last time I was the Infrastructure Minister and Regional Development and Local Government Minister, to fix up this town square, to improve the safety, to build the children's playground, to make a difference to the quality of life here in this great town. The truth is that right throughout Queensland I can go and point to practical differences that I've made when I was the Minister during the Rudd and Gillard governments. That puts me, I think, in a good position with regard to talking with Queenslanders and, importantly, listening to Queenslanders. I've said before in the last few days that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should spend twice as much time listening as we do talking. We've just had a very good meeting with the Mayor of Moreton Bay Council, and I'll continue. We've had some other discussions with people around the hub here in Caboolture. We'll have further discussions this afternoon, and later I'll be joined, as well as Susan, with Corinne Mulholland, our unsuccessful candidate for Petrie, and Ali France, our unsuccessful candidate for Dixon. We need to acknowledge, firstly, that we lost the election. We need to talk to people who have worked hard for us for the cause of Labor. But we also need to talk to people who wanted to vote Labor but who chose not to, particularly those who were thinking very closely of doing it, and all the opinion polls showed that people were thinking of voting Labor, but of course we know that in the end we simply didn't get enough support. So I'm here, it's no accident I'm here in Queensland as my first stop. I was here many times. I've been to this electorate, and right throughout Queensland I've been to electorates, whether it's Maranoa or Kennedy, whether it be the seats in southeast Queensland, and importantly, the seats right down the coast, be it Leichhardt, Herbert, Flynn, Capricornia, Hinkler. All of these seats have infrastructure where we've made a difference, particularly the upgrades in the Bruce Highway, where under the Howard government, $1.3 billion of investment over 12 years. While I was the minister, $6.7 billion in half that time. That's the difference that we made. Some of those projects are still proceeding, but they were begun under us. The important projects around Townsville, around Mackay, around Gladstone, and right indeed down the coast, including the Karoita-Curra upgrade north of here, around Gympie, which was described by the person who was the Transport Minister and local member for Wide Bay as the worst road in Australia. Well, it took a Labor government to fix it. I intend to talk with Queenslanders and to engage with Queenslanders over the coming 3 years. And today is just the start of that process.